More exciting news has been revealed for the upcoming EA Sports College Football video game, so as always, we're going to go over everything that we learned this week in this video. Now, over the last couple of weeks, a lot of news has been dropping about the game. EA has put out an article with ESPN, they put out a teaser trailer, but even aside from that, we've been getting more news each day as some of the people that leak information have been finding out more about the game. Some of the people involved with the game have been speaking out about it as well, which is exciting because it seems like pretty much every day we find out at least something new about the game, whether it's big or small, and we're going to be getting a ton of information as we lead up to the release this summer. Now, if you never want to miss out on any of these weekly updates about this game or the early gameplay that's going to happen eventually, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on. That way you never miss any of these important videos when they go live. Trying to hit 600k subs before the game comes out, so if everybody watching just subscribed, we would literally hit that number in a few days. Also, when the game comes out, I'm going to be giving away copies of the game just like I do with Madden, so make sure to follow on my social media channels if you want a chance to win some copies of this game. I'm definitely going to be trying to give out a good bit of copies for this game when it drops, so everybody has a chance to get their hands on it. This is going to be one of the most exciting games to drop in a long time. So let's first by talking about the NIL and the players opting in. So we know that last week they officially started sending out the opt-ins to all of the athletes that they are trying to license for the game. They're trying to license around 11,000 players, pretty much all the scholarship players on every team and maybe a little bit extra. And pretty much right out the gate, it was reported that over 5,000 players already opted in, which is great, which means by about right now, at least half of the people that they have sent these out to have already opted in, which is really good because when you're dealing with young players like teenagers and 20-year-olds that are in college, a lot of times, you know, they kind of procrastinate, wait till the last minute, and you got to get these guys to sign over their likeness and agree to be in the game. So the fact that so many have opted in right away is actually a really good sign. Now, they are giving these players about a couple months till sometime in April to opt in, and that's kind of the cutoff date because they have to put so many players in the game. We're talking thousands upon thousands of players on top of all the other stuff they still have to do to get this game out on time. So April is the cutoff date, but it was reported that EA Sports will be pretty flexible with late opt-ins after April, and they've already supposedly pre-prepared the digital likenesses for a lot of the players already, especially the ones that they expect to opt in, which is actually good on their part to get a head start on that. So even if some of the players opt in a little bit late, if they're a bigger name player, they're probably going to make sure that they get them in by launch. I mean, let's say it's a couple of guys that opt in a little bit late or, you know, top 100 players in college, they're definitely going to make sure that they make that extra little bit of time to get them in before the game drops. But if they're not as big of names, they're probably going to come in with a roster update because they did also reveal that they're going to be doing roster updates for the game, which is good, which means if players are opting in later or even, hey, after the season starts for some reason, maybe some players start kind of catching on fire, a backup comes into play because the starter gets hurt and they start playing really well, you know, they're going to have that opportunity to opt in and then they could update them with a roster update, which is really good to know. But hold up really quickly, stop right there. If you're into sports and you want to try to win some money, then you've got to be on Underdog Fantasy playing their pick'em game. It's super simple. All you got to do is simply pick higher or lower on a wide variety of player stats, and if they hit, you can win some big money. And since it's currently NBA season, for example, you could take a certain player like LeBron to get over a certain amount of points, or you can take another player to get a certain amount of rebounds, or lower than that amount, whatever you think is going to happen. But the best part about Underdog Fantasy is they're going to always give you a free play right at sign up to help you win some money. For tomorrow's NBA games, they're going to give you Giannis Antetokounmpo to score a single point. If you sign up over the weekend, they're going to give you Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to get a single point. And during next week, they're going to also be players like Luka Doncic and Steph Curry available for these new user signups as well. And if that's not good enough, at sign up, if you use my code RAY, R-A-Y, they're going to also double your first deposit up to $100, meaning if you deposit $100, you get an extra free $100 on top of that to play with, and you just can't beat that. Now, the next bit of news we have to go over involves Chris Fowler. We know he's going to be in the game. He announced it when the big reveal happened a couple of weeks ago, but since then, he actually put out a video talking about the game a little bit, how long he's been working on it, and even gave detail as to some of the commentary that you're going to expect in the game and just how much commentary they have been building up for this game over the last few years, so check it out.
Finally, I can tell you about what's been going on behind closed doors here in the smallest room in the house for about 2 years. Voiceover sessions for EA Sports CFP 25. Microphone, digital recorder, laptop where they have Zoom calls where guys from EA are engineering and directing these sessions. It has been fun. It's been taxing sometimes, monotonous at other times, because everything you could possibly see in a football game, even the mundane plays, I've said into that microphone many, many different ways. Bunch of stuff you'd never see in a real game. I've described. You want to punt on second down, try a 71-yard field goal. That's in the game too, along with the appropriate analysis of those decisions. Quarterback throws 5 picks in the first quarter or 5 touchdowns. We got you covered there too in detail. People have asked, when my team scores a touchdown, will there be appropriate excitement like a real game? Hell yes. EA insists on realism. I sat here in an hour and said, touchdown, Alabama, all the way down to touchdown, Wyoming, along with the version for the team nicknames. It was like a month of touchdown calls in an hour. I needed the T for the voice. Kirk and I have had joint sessions playing off each other like we would in a real booth. There's going to be incredible detail. What I've seen of the game will blow people away, and really excited for you to see it. Probably can't answer most of your questions about the game, but I know it's going to be great. Can't wait.
Now, another bit of information that came out via the 24/7 Sports article this week was something pretty interesting about microtransactions. Now, in this article, they talked about a bunch of different things, but most of this stuff we already kind of knew about. But one of the important things they mentioned was microtransactions, and they said, according to who they've talked to, microtransactions for the game are expected to be kept at a minimum as EA Sports attempts to make the long-awaited return of the game as welcoming as possible to casual gamers in its first year. Microtransactions will be included in Ultimate Team, a mode that will include legendary players from the past, the source said. And this is something that Matt Brown has also spoken on a little bit, as he's been the most reliable source of information about this game. He's got connects at EA, but he's also gotten a lot of information from the different schools themselves. And he kind of said the same thing about microtransactions, that of course there's going to be some in Ultimate Team, but they realize that this is a much different fan base than Madden. And while NCAA Ultimate Team will definitely make them extra money, which is kind of necessary, they definitely need to make up some money there, because the game sales for this are not going to match Madden, and they already know that. The people in the industry that get paid to project things like this for EA and their stock and things like that, you know, they're not expecting this to sell close to Madden, because the NFL market is just so much bigger than the college football market from a casual audience perspective, and that's why Madden kind of gets a lot of extra sales from that casual viewer. And also, it's just more of a global game now, whereas college is more of just like a national thing. So they definitely need to make up some of those game sales with microtransactions, and I don't think too many people are that worried about it, because most people know that the big focus for this game is definitely Road to Glory and the offline stuff, and EA knows that the crowd for this game is much different than the Madden crowd. You have a lot of casual guys. You got guys that actually do like spending money on Madden, whereas a lot of the college football audience, they care about the offline modes, the gameplay, the presentation, the pageantry, the depth, and that's where more of the focus is going. So while there will be microtransactions in this game, it shouldn't be anything on par with kind of how Madden is, and it shouldn't be as heavily pushed as it is in Madden, which is a good thing. Now, speaking of Matt Brown, he also spoke on one of the biggest questions we have surrounding this game, and that is customization, but more importantly, things like team builder. Now, he has reported a while back that customization is another heavy focus for this game. EA hasn't really spoken on it yet, because they're going to unveil this stuff in May when they do the full big reveal. However, Matt Brown has said he's talked to people at EA and that customization is going to be a heavy focus, but he even went a little bit deeper on a podcast that he was on the other day. And what Matt Brown said was, if you are concerned about user-generated content, that he wouldn't worry about that. He said that, you know, he can't speak too deeply on it because he doesn't want to get cut off from EA, but he said if you have concerns about not being able to have user-generated content in the game, that you should worry less about that, meaning we should have user-generated content, which means something along the lines of Team Builder, or at least something similar, because user-generated content goes further than just having a create a school or a create a team in the game. User-generated means you're actually creating your own teams and not just choosing from pre-selected teams. In fact, here's a little clip from the podcast where he spoke on this a little more in depth.
I have seen internal memos and things communicated to different developers and different people in the company. How can I say this without getting yelled at? Further speak to the idea that user-generated content is going to be important in this game. And I would say that if you are a fan and your chief concern right now is that you will not have a team builder-like experience, I would say, I think you should relax.
This is the legitimate most asked question I've gotten, and I know you've commented on this a lot. There are a lot of people that think this is going to be a Madden reskin.
Here's what I can say about that, because I see this all the time too. And I have some empathy and some sympathy for this concern, because EA has done a lot of things to make you not want to automatically give them the benefit of the doubt. But here's what I can share with you about vis-a-vis reskins, right? The number one thing that I read, and I'm sure you hear the same things here too, are, well, this game's on the Frostbite engine, and so is Madden. Therefore, it's got to be the same kind of game. And I think some of that speaks to some misconceptions about what a game development engine is. Did they make Madden on Frostbite? Yeah. They made Battlefield on Frostbite. They did PGA Golf on Frostbite. I think they did the hockey game on Frostbite. The engine does not exclusively dictate what kind of game you have. You can make the same kind of game in a lot of different engines. What matters is the code. What matters is the system architecture and the people that are building it. What I can tell you is that the people that are building EA Sports College Football 25 are different from the people that have made Madden. Many of the project managers and the software engineers working on this are the kind of people that we would consider to be college football sickos. They're really, really into the sport, and they recognize that college football is not the same sport as Madden. And some of that is about explicitly on-field things. The clock rules are different. Some of the gameplay rules are different. The diversity in scheme and play type and playbook type and talent type between college and football, college and the NFL is immense. So you literally can't build the same kind of football simulation because they're not the same game. Then obviously how you build a roster and what your dynasty or franchise mode looks like have to be completely different.
So it does sound like we should be having something like Team Builder in the game. It's not confirmed. Nothing is 100% until EA says it themselves. But Matt Brown has been spot on about everything over the last couple of years as he has been putting out info from this game. It has all pretty much been confirmed by EA at this point, aside from a few things. He was even the one that said that College Game Day was going to be in the game. And we just found that out a couple weeks ago when the College Game Day crew were announcing they were in the game. So he has been spot on. If he doesn't know something, he'll tell you flat out he doesn't know or he's not sure. But if he does know something, he'll say, this is what I've heard. You can take that to the bank. And it's been true. And from what he's heard, user-generated content should be involved in some way. Customization should be there in some way. Whereas with Madden, if you know you play Madden, there's really not a lot of customization. There's not even a creative team in the game right now. And the customization that they do have is very, very lackluster and way behind all of the other sports games. So is Team Builder officially back? Not 100%, but it sounds like we're going to have something really good in terms of customization, which is going to be necessary for this game. Now, if you want to dive a little deeper into some of the other news that we recently got for this game, if you haven't been keeping up to date, you can check out this important video that I just dropped recently right here on the screen.